Hey, what's up guys? It's Luke, and you're watching Luke the Gathering. Thanks for being here. I really appreciate it. Today we're going to do another draft pick, this time Adventures of the Forgotten Realms. I'm filming all of these on the same day, so it's just pack after pack after pack. But it's been a lot of fun. I've just been trying to cut this video into different, smaller videos so we can do like a pack for every video. These videos do take, 10-15 minutes sometimes, and without any further waiting around, let's just go ahead and get the overhead camera on and open up the pack as if we were drafting it, and let's see what we get. So we have a Paladin's Shield, a Hired Hex Blade, Ranger's Longbow, Unexpected Windfall, Air Cult Elemental, Hoarding Ogre, Steadfast Paladin, Pixie Guy, Arboria Pegasus, Evolving Wilds, Intrepid Outlander, Reaper's Talisman, Lolson Troll, Skeletal Swarming, and tokens. Okay, wow. We've been getting some really nice packs to pick from recently. I'm hoping, I wish I got some of these as a draft pack. Let's just go ahead and rearrange some of this stuff and make a top row there. No doubt about it, there's two cards I really would like from this pack, and I wish I could get both of them. And then there are other cards that I really like that I wish I could get as well. So there's some really good stuff here for the taking. But the first one I would take for sure is Skeletal Swarming. It says it's an enchantment for 3 black and green. Each skeleton you control has trample. Attacks each combat if able and gets +X+O, where X is the number of other skeletons you control. At the beginning of your end step, create a tapped 1/1 black skeleton creature token. If a creature died this turn, create 2 of those tokens instead. I've played against this card, and if you let this thing get out of control, it will. Those skeletons just keep popping up. And if you can't stop them, it's already game over. So Skeletal Swarming is an amazing enchantment. If you get it to stay there, it is just gonna wreck your opponent. Just no doubt, it's just gonna wreck it, and you're gonna win. It's just that good of a card. That other card I always love getting is the Reaper's Talisman. Oh my gosh, the Reaper's Talisman. It says whenever equipped creature attacks, it gains Death Touch until end of turn. And that's okay. Now here's the kicker. Whenever equipped creature attacks alone, defending player loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. It only costs 2 to equip 2. So whenever you attack, they lose 2 life and you gain 2 life. That's a 4 life swing right there. If it's on a bird or something flying, sometimes it can't be prevented. If Thieves' Tools is also there, it can't be prevented. It just provides so much value when it's attached. It's so amazing. Whenever I see Reaper's Talisman, it will be the first thing I take. But we had Skeletal Swarming before, and so I think that just nudges Reaper's Talisman. So I think I would love both. Unfortunately, you can only take one. I take Skeletal Swarming, but Reaper's Talisman, that's going to be off the table very soon. Someone's going to take that right away. Okay, after that, though, it gets a little bit harder, but I think I know what I would do. I would certainly take Steadfast Paladin. It's a 2/2 for 2, but it's a Lifelink, and it's in white, and I think it's one of the white's best cards you can get, because Lifelink is great. It's a great ability, and it synergizes well with white and green. And if, the Steadfast Paladin, even if it's in like a Boros equipment deck, if it becomes more powerful, if it's attacking for 5 for whatever reason, then you're gaining 5 life when it hits. So Steadfast Paladin is a pretty amazing card that I think works tremendously well. And I would pick it, for sure, but just not above Reaper's Talisman or Skeletal Swarming. After that, I'd pick the Arboria Pegasus. It's another white card. This is a 3 and a white. It's a flying creature, it's Pegasus, and whenever the Pegasus enters the battlefield, target creature gets +1/+1 and gains flying till end of turn. When it hits the battlefield, target creature that you have flies up in the air, and oftentimes will not be blocked, has +1/+1, hits the opponent. That is great. And then on the next turn, it's flying, it's a flying creature, so you have a flyer. A 2/3 flyer, which is pretty good. But honestly, you know, unfortunately, other flyers in the format, besides like the Pixie Guy and little birds, they are tougher. So like Ginny Windseer and Planner Ally, those things would obviously be able to match Arboria Pegasus and take it out. But if you're not facing anything like that, Arboria Pegasus is going to put in some good work for you. All right. Next up, I would definitely pick the Hoarding Troll. I like Hoarding Troll a lot. It's a 3/3, so it's a decent body for the mid-game, great for the early game. And whenever Hoarding Troll. Whenever Hoarding Ogre attacks, you get to make some treasure tokens between 1 and 3, depending on your role. So I find that that's really, really useful. Treasure tokens are such important things in this game and in this format that getting more is always a good thing. Okay, so after that, I think I would pick... Actually, I think I would go with the Evolving Wilds. There's not much fixing in this set at all, and so Evolving Wilds is one of the few things that can actually fix your mana for you. And I would pick it because in case I wanted to splash something, I would be happy to have an Evolving Wilds in my hand, in my deck, knowing that, okay, at least I can go grab the mana that I need if I get the Evolving Wilds. So it's not the greatest thing out there, but I think it's something that is useful and can be helpful. The rest of these cards, I don't know, they're not bad. Actually, none of these cards, besides maybe one, I'm not a huge fan of. But we'll go with Pixie Guy next. It's a flying 1/3. We've seen Pixie Guy in one of the other openings in this second series for AFR. 1/3 in the air helps you with dice rolling. I think that's the biggest thing. It's dice roller helper. So I like that it helps you with dice rolling. And 1/3 in the air, you know, it's going to block a lot of 2/2s. I think, you know, it just stops people in their tracks, and that's really cool. Only costs 1 and a blue. The next card, I guess, would be Air Cult Elemental. It's pretty expensive, 4 and 2 blue for just a 2/5. The 5 is great. The 2 is not so great. If it was a 3, then maybe I think this would be great. But 2, it's not going to be able to take out too much by the time it comes out. What it does do is it has the power to bounce something back to your opponent's hand. So you can bounce back something that's annoying and then swing in. You can bounce tokens out and then they're gone forever. So those are the things that would make the Air Cult Elemental useful. It's also a good blocker because it's flying and it has 2/5. So really good stats for blocking. Other than that, it is kind of pricey. I'm not a huge fan of when I take this card. Like, I don't enjoy taking the card, but it has come in useful, and I've faced it before, and they do a little bit of damage in terms of they are hard to get past. So, you know, I'll take it for sure. After that, I think I will go with, I think the Intrepid Outlander. I don't play green a ton, but this guy does have pack tactics and ventures into the dungeon with the power of 6 on the attack. Also has reach. It's a 2/3 for just 1 and a green, so I think the basic stats for this card in this set make it decent. Like a very middle-of-the-road card. I don't think I'd be super happy to take it, but if it was the only thing left, I would take it. Like, it's in the not bad category. I feel the same way about the Hired Hex Blade. Like, it's a 2/2. When Hired Hex Blade enters the battlefield, if a mana from treasure was spent to cast it, you draw a card and you lose a life. So you can draw cards with it. I don't like losing life for that, but it's not a terrible amount of life. If you had like Kalane out and you can spend the treasure, it'd be a 3/3 out, and so that's decent. That would make it decent, but you need Kalane to make it happen. Otherwise, it's a very vanilla 2/2. The next card I would personally choose is Unexpected Windfall. In order to cast this, you have to discard a card, but what happens is you get 2 cards back and you get 2 treasure tokens for 2 and 2 red. It's a nice card that kind of lets you cycle through things. I find that I don't really use this card that often. Like, I see it and I always have like grand plans, like, oh, I'm going to use this card. Rarely ever happens. So I like it, but in honest like practicality, I don't actually use it that often. The Lolson Troll comes up next. It's a 3 and 2 green for a 6/2. So 6/2, wow, very strong if you can get it through. Unfortunately, it doesn't have trample. And that 2 for its toughness just makes it so fragile. The cool thing about it is that it can come back to life over and over again. So in the very late game, I think this is really nice because it'll just keep coming back to haunt your opponent, especially if you have a lot of mana to spare. The worst thing that happens is it goes on top of your deck. The best thing that happens is it goes right to the battlefield, but that's only on a 20. For 10 through 19, it goes back to your hand, which is decent. But you still have to pay 3 and a green to do that. And if it goes on top of your deck, it just blows when you have to do that. I really dislike that. Then you don't get a new card draw. You just keep drawing that thing over and over, which might be okay, like I said, in the later game. But if it's not something you want sort of earlier mid-game, then it's not going to be that great. More mid-game, because you won't really be able to play this card in the early game. The last 2 cards, we're going to go with Ranger's Longbow first. I just think I would see that being played more than the Paladin Shield. Ranger's Longbow is nice because it gives you +2, but also +1 in the toughness category. So you get buffs in both sides of the statistics, and it gives, green creatures reach, where traditionally green has a hard time hitting flyers with their creatures. You have to use other cards like Plummet or things like that in order to get the flyers or even the removal spells. Ranger's Longbow allows creatures to go attack in the air, and it also just is a general buff, which is good. Paladin Shield is something I'd like to use more. I think it's an interesting card. It just buffs you in terms of your defense, but it can flash in, and so possibly save your life. Someone thinks they're going to trade off with you, flash this in, they're tougher than they thought, and bang, you win the battle. And you have something that's potentially more difficult to kill, well, definitely more difficult to take out with a Paladin Shield on. I always feel like I could put this shield on and use it more, but I never end up using it. That's kind of a bummer for me because I think it would be a fun card to use. Well, not fun, but I think maybe a useful card to use. The only problem is it's a shield, and I don't know, personally I think, wouldn't you rather go on offense than defense? I think that's kind of the thought with Paladin Shield. I'd rather be on the offensive attack than just defending, but it could very well be very useful. Overall, this pack was really nice, especially on the top end. That Skeletal Swarming is just an absolute bomb of a card, and the Reaper's Talisman is super great as well. So, really nice top end here. Good stuff. I think this would be a great pack to open up in Limited. Let me know what you think of this pack and what you would pick in what order. If you disagree with anything, let me know. I'd love to hear it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.